The invasion ended not with a bang, but with a synchronized snap of femurs. It was the wet, crunching sound of 5,000 elite knees giving up on life simultaneously. On the bridge of the Void Piercer, High Exarch Drazak stood with his arms crossed over his chest, mandibles set in a grin of anticipated victory. He had been waiting for the screams of the natives. Instead, he was listening to the high-pitched, confused wheezing of his own vanguard. "Report," Drazak barked, though his confidence flickered. "Why are they lying down? Is this a tactical slumber?" "Sir," Tactical Officer Plim whispered, his antenna twitching in a spasm of pure anxiety. "They aren't sleeping. They can't stand up." They had come to conquer, but they couldn't even stand up. It had started well enough. Or rather, it had started with the kind of blind arrogance that usually precedes a historic catastrophe. The fleet had dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, ready to claim Drazak's 50th planetary conquest. The target was a blue-green marble, quiet and seemingly defenseless. "Gravitational variance is alarming, Exarch," Plim had warned an hour ago, staring at his console as if it had just insulted his mother. "Readings indicate a core density far exceeding galactic norms." It's heavy, sir. Very heavy." Drazak had waved a hand, dismissing the laws of physics as if they were merely suggestions for lesser species. "Gravity is a crutch for the weak, Plim. The Krylorian Shock Legion trains in 1.5 Gs. We will crush them." "Actually, sir," Plim had mumbled, too quiet to be heard, "it looks like the math suggests the crushing will be mutual." The dropships had descended into the Arizona Barrens, a location chosen for its flat terrain and lack of immediate defenses. The landing was textbook. The ramps hissed open, revealing the scorched earth and the blinding yellow sun of a Class Omega environment. Vanguard Throck was the first out. He was a veteran of the Centauri campaigns, a warrior who had wrestled silicates and eaten plasma fire. He stepped onto the ramp, roared a challenge to the empty desert, and immediately folded like a cheap lawn chair. It wasn't a trip. It was a structural collapse. "Exoskeleton failure detected." Science Officer Zyla shouted from the back of the bridge, her fingers flying across her holographic interface. "The atmospheric compression, sir, of the air column alone is weighing them down like a lead blanket. And the gravity. By the void, the gravity." On the main view screen, the scene was absolute chaos. Soldiers were crawling. No, they were dragging themselves by their fingertips, their armor grinding against the asphalt. The biodensity of the Krylorian physiology, perfectly evolved for the floaty grace of low-gravity moons, was reacting to Earth's pull with catastrophic obedience. Throk was trying to lift his plasma rifle. He managed to get it 3 inches off the ground before his shoulder emitted a sickening pop, and he dropped it with a sob. "It's a trap," Drazak whispered, horror dawning. "They increased the planet's mass. They knew we were coming and they turned up the gravity generator." "There is no generator, sir," Zila said, her voice trembling. "This is natural. This is just how the planet is." Drazak stared at the screen. "You are telling me the natives live in this? They walk around in this crushing death trap?" "According to the scans." Zyla paused, checking the data twice. "Yes. To the galaxy, this is a pressure cooker. To the locals, it was just Tuesday." "Incoming contact," Plim shrieked. "Native military transports approaching the landing zone. Speed. Incredible speed." Drazak watched as dust plumes rose in the distance. The humans were coming, and his entire army was currently pinned to the floor by the sheer, hateful weight of the world they had tried to steal. The dust settled, revealing the terrifying silhouette of the human war machines. They were boxy, primitive combustion vehicles with rubber tires that seemed to mock the very concept of aerodynamics. To High Exarch Drazak, he's staring at the view screen with all four eyes widened to their limit. They looked like rolling coffins. "Here it comes," Drazak whispered, his voice trembling. The slaughter. A door on the lead vehicle swung open. Drazak flinched. The bridge crew held their breath. A creature stepped out. It was bipedal, soft-skinned, and utterly lacking in natural armor. It wore a fabric uniform and sunglasses. "Captain Bennett," the intercepted radio chatter identified him. Bennett didn't scan the perimeter with a tactical laser. He didn't deploy a force field. He did something far worse. He stretched. He reached his arms over his head, arched his back, and let out a yawn that exposed his defenseless throat to the universe. "Look at the kinetic potential!" Plim shrieked, pointing a shaking claw at the screen. Now he just fought the gravity well to extend his upper limbs and didn't even grunt. The energy output required for that motion would deplete a fusion cell. Beside Bennett, another human, Sergeant Kowalczyk, hopped out of the passenger side. Hopped. She cleared the ground by 6 inches, landing with a heavy thud that should have shattered her tibia. Instead, she just adjusted her belt. "They are bouncing," Zyla gasped, her face draining of color. "Sir, the gravity is trying to crush them into paste, and they are bouncing." On the ground, Vanguard Throck was currently trying to negotiate a surrender, but it was coming out as a high-pitched wheeze because his lungs were currently functioning at 15% capacity. He watched in paralyzed horror as the 2 humans approached him. They weren't running. They were jogging. A casual, rhythmic gait that defied the laws of biodensity. "Hey, buddy," Bennett called out, his voice booming through the thick atmosphere like a shock wave. "You guys have a rough landing? Engine trouble?" Throck tried to raise his hand to signal the might of the Krylorian Empire, but his arm was too heavy. It flopped uselessly into the dirt. "Oh, geez," Kowalczyk said, her voice filled with a sickening amount of compassion. "He looks dehydrated, or maybe heat stroke. Let's get him into the shade." Drazak watched the screen, his mandibles clicking in sheer disbelief. "They are going to interrogate him. They will torture him for our codes." Kowalczyk bent down. She reached under Throck's armored torso, an exoskeleton that weighed 300 pounds in standard gravity and nearly 1,000 here. She grunted once, a short, sharp exhale, and then she stood up. She was holding the vanguard of the Shock Legion in her arms, like he was a bag of potting soil. "Easy there, big guy," she murmured, patting Throck's helmet. "We gotcha. NASA's on the line. We'll get you some water." She lifted him, Plim whispered, with her biological arms. No hydraulics, no servo assist. She just picked him up. "It's the bone density," Zyla said, staring at her readings with morbid fascination. "Their skeletons are calcium-reinforced steel. Their muscles are hydraulic pistons wrapped in skin. They are apex predators of a high-gravity hellscape." The battle lasted 20 minutes. It consisted entirely of human soldiers wandering through the landing zone, picking up the immobilized alien invaders and carrying them gently to the medical transport trucks. And the humans were confused but helpful. The aliens were mortified and in varying stages of orthopedic failure. Recall the fleet, Drazak said. He felt old. He felt tired. He felt light. Sir? Get them back to the ships. Use the tractor beams. Do not let the humans touch them anymore. It is too embarrassing. The extraction was a clumsy affair. The humans, realizing the visitors were leaving, actually helped load the wounded back onto the gravity lifts. Bennett waved. He actually waved. Safe travels. The radio crackled. Come back when you fix your stabilizers. As the Void Piercer broke orbit, putting as much distance between itself and the blue marble as physics allowed, Drazak sat at his terminal to compose the final entry of the campaign. Target designation, Earth. Classification, Class Omega Death World. On notes. Inhabitants possess Class 5 durability and Class 10 ignorance of their own terrifying nature. Do not engage. Do not invade. Do not even look at it sideways. He hit send. The fleet warped away, leaving the Sol system in silence. Down below, Captain Bennett scratched his head, watching the lights vanish into the stars. Weirdest Tuesday ever, he muttered, then turned to Kowalczyk. Lunch? Tacos, she said. I'm starving. And they walked away. Two monsters of the galaxy, crushing the earth beneath their boots with every casual, devastating step.